According to my clock, it's 3:30. That looks about right there. We have Nick on the screen, and so everyone's going to help me make sure if Nick needs attention that you let me know. I'm Pam Silbernagle. I am our chair. Let's call ourselves to order. First of all, roll call.
Member Holt?
Here.
Chair Silbernagle?
Here.
Member Moore?
Here.
Member Hutton?
Here.
Member Canova?
Here.
And Member Andrews?
Here.
Glad to know it's working. Nice to meet you, Nick. And thanks.
I was just going to say, I apologize to everyone for not being able to be there today. Just with a scheduling conflict here, I'm actually holding my son and feeding him at the same time. So I will be here. I will be present. Just there might be some lapses in my speaking. So I just thank you all for being so understanding.
Thank you for multitasking to be here. And Joni and Oscar, newest members, welcome back, Bob and Sharon. And we're missing Peggy Burris is often with us, but you said she's an excuse, maybe joining us later on. So it looks to me like we have a pretty full agenda. The staff's outlined 2 hours worth of work for us today. So as usual, my job is to keep us kind of moving along, but I prefer that we move into kind of a consensus level of decision making. If we have decisions to make, I don't mind that you throw a motion out on the table, but I think it's really helpful if we have some conversation around it, because sometimes we come up with even better ideas as we all lay out what we're thinking. So if you're all good with that, I'm going to continue in the role of chair with the caveat that if I'm on vacation, we're not meeting. That was the condition I took this with, and luckily I'm stuck at home now, so that shouldn't be an issue for us. I do need a vice chair, though. Would Sharon or Bob, who've been here?
I'd be happy to do it.
Bob would be happy to do it.
So I will nominate Bob Moore.
All right. Nomination of Bob Moore. Is there anyone else? Thank you for joining us, Peggy. Bob has volunteered himself to be. Oh.
No nominations of me, please.
Thanks, Bob Peggy. Graciously offered.
So we have a willing nominee in Bob. Is anyone else interested or wanting to nominate someone else? If not, we'll close.
I will second Bob.
Oh, thank you. I forgot. Always quit doing seconds, and I've gotten out of that. Help me with that, please. All right, we have a motion and a second, Sharon and Oscar. Any further conversation? All in favor of Bob serving as vice chair?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that was a delay. Any abstentions? And so congratulations. Thanks for doing that, Bob. All right, next item of business, approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which was way back in January, and yet I found it refreshing to look back at where we were. So Peggy, you were there, Sharon, Bob, you were there. Any changes? Okay.
I've already told Jennifer, but it's on page 4 of the packet.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's page 3 of the minutes. Third paragraph from the bottom. It should be member Canova moved to provide Downtown Albany Visitors Association. Should be Albany Downtown Association.
Thank you.
Yep.
I caught that early, but I didn't write it down. Good job.
Good job. Good catch.
It was worth reading it for that.
The ADA in the parentheses is correct.
Correct. Right.
It's a long association.
Any other friendly amendments? If not, we'll consider the correction of downtown under the motion about award of $3,000. Part of anyone's motion who'd like to say they'd like to approve these.
Sorry.
Motion to approve.
Oh, so moved.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you very much, Joni. Any further conversation? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? All
I
right.
abstain because I was.
You abstain. Oscar's on the record as abstaining. We're good with you turning in anyway. business from the public is our next order of business. I think I have a sheet over here. At the end of the agenda, we are planning on hearing from all of you.
I didn't see the sheet. Should I sign it or just be last?
I think you're going to be on anyway because you have a proposal, unless you want to speak other than the proposal.
Like you're here.
So, we do have on our agenda later on, updates on the different agencies that receive funding. And we also have requests for grants. Those will happen toward the next items on the agenda. And then post-event reports from those that receive funding, how they did with their awards. If you're on this list, I'm just going to go down it, and you want to speak later instead of now, that's great. So, Deirdre?
Right here, and I'll speak later.
You'll speak later. Okay. Brittany?
Yeah, I'm here to speak later too.
Later. Okay. Millie? I kind of thought y'all were. And Patrick?
Yes.
All right. That's for the staff though, because they'll want to keep track of you. So we'll look forward to hearing from you in a bit. Next item is business from the staff.
All right, we are moving right on here.
Thank you.
Perfect. So my name is Jennifer Ware, and I am the new Economic Development Program Coordinator. Sophia is out on maternity leave right now. So for any of those that I have not met, it's great to meet you and be a part of this. One thing that I have is there's been talk in the past of the short-term rental process and working to secure a company to manage that process for us for the transient lodging tax revenue. That would include Airbnbs, short-term rentals, etc. Currently, that is all being collected by our traditional lodging sources. But we have now secured a company. We did an RFQ, or a request for quote process, and we have secured a company and contract has been signed. We should be doing a kickoff with them next week and moving that forward so that we can start collecting that sometime in the beginning of January or beginning of 2025. So just wanted to let you know that that has then moved forward, and we had 4 companies that had provided quotations for that, and we have met with them and find that their services will best match what we need going forward. That is my staff report.
Will you be able to track those dollars separately from the hotel motel receipts?
Yes.
I think that would be
Yes.
really interesting for us. Yeah, we should still always look at the big bucket, but just to see what kind of impact that has, because we've been speculating for a while now.
Yes, and we've had them do some preliminary estimates as well. But once we actually get into everything, that's when we'll be able to start narrowing that down and then see how that matches based on their estimate of how many short-term lodging facilities there are.
So, I noticed in our report, our packet, we have a revenue stream view of what it's been like for the last multiple years. And last year performed, I believe, above what the budget projected. We had put into the minutes and talked at the end of the last meeting about wanting to keep a look at what that reserve fund was looking like so that we would maybe be able to approach our respective counselors with the idea of moving some of those into projects if there were extra projects sitting out there that needed the funds. So right now the budget is set. The city council would have to amend the budget to be able to loosen up those reserves. But as far as we know, those monies just kind of pour into the full city budget. They don't stay separate. Yeah. So
They've been rolling it over, if it's not scheduled. And then the years back, we've always said we wanted to have that as a reserve and building it up. That was done for
a while.
years.
So we're watching that.
Okay.
And Jennifer, what we had asked for at the last meeting, not on you at all, because you weren't part of it, was could you email out to us what the reserve amount is as we're closing the prior fiscal year at the beginning of July, we should have some number, even if it's not final. You please tell us if it's not the final. I assume it would be. And then that might give us some conversation starters at whether we want to hold an extra meeting to see if some funds could be loosened up by the council.
Okay, I will see what I can find out.
Yeah. Last year, we were able to roll a second round of funds out, and I felt really good. Bob and Sharon were both part of that, Peggy.
Yeah.
It felt really good to see what we were able to do with just a small remnant of dollars. But we had 10,000. It wasn't a lot, but we were able to do a lot with that. So I think this is one of those programs, yes, the city deals in millions of dollars, but this one, it makes a difference to have the $10,000 level. Okay, anything else for staff?
That's all I have for right now.
Okay, so we noticed in the minutes too, we had a motion from Peggy to do a letter to Chris Gustafson, thanking him for stepping back to allow a couple of other funders to receive monies last time. Do you know if that went out? Because I didn't get a copy of it.
Of a letter to
It was a letter to him, just a thank you note. It would have been before
it
you.
would have been before, but I can check into that and see what exactly was sent up for that.
So perhaps as you send us what the reserve line is, tell us that happened, because we did really appreciate what he did
There
there.
was quite a few people that were, seeking some funds. We didn't have enough to go around, and so when it came down to it, he just graciously stood up and said, I just want to withdraw mine. And
For the good of the community.
I'm sorry, which company does he represent?
Chris has Vintage Windows Restoration. He was going to be doing a workshop on
Right.
restoring windows.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but he said he wanted the monies to go to the kids.
Yeah.
So the other hanging piece that I noticed in the minutes was there was a motion made by Sharon suggesting that we relayed to the city that street funds were the better source for the Give a Hoot request. And not that we fully supported it, but thought that there was a better ongoing relationship that should be had there. Could you follow up and find out?
If they did.
Again, send that in our email on whether they did use city street funds or otherwise.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice anything else that you questioned? It's hard when we only see each other once every 6 months or more. Hanging threads. Okay, well, with that, thanks for doing that.
Thing that I didn't see it in the minutes, but we did talk about it. And that was adhering to the application. Last time we did make it an exception,
Yes.
and it came back again. And so if deadlines are deadlines.
Yeah.
Thank you for that reminder.
Thank you, Bob.
We didn't go through the whole packet, although you guys sent out the packet to us and asked if we wanted to take a look at it. I'd like to see.
As well, but any suggestions of the application process as well as the application itself.
That we stick with the hard deadlines to be fair. It's a fairness issue. I'd like to bring this back for a second meeting. I assume we're going to be able to meet in the winter, and if so, this is a good task, as well as hearing what the folks that got money last year, what they did. Kind of do both of those side by side. They may have some suggestions too on the process, given their experiences with us. So I think that would be a nice package for not today, but next meeting. Good? Everybody saying, yeah?
Yes, please.
Excited, another meeting. All right, in front of us, scheduled business. Tourism agency reports. We have a lot of paper that these fine people at the Visitors Association and Downtown Association and Monteith Society sent to us. This is their time to take a moment and add anything. You don't need to restate it all, but if you wanted to call our attention to anything special, you want to start top of my packets visitors. Rebecca, are you here for them?
I am.
And I warned Jennifer I was gonna try to put something together for you that is more of a eye-catching snapshot of what you have. So I'll just, is it all right for me to pass this out for you too? If you want to go get a copy. Yep. And I'll send it digitally too. This is hot off the press thanks to, a new computer that doesn't carry the same fonts that I've used in the past. So there are a lot of
Excitement.
little formatting things. So if you see any errors, I'll be happy to correct those prior to sending it to you digitally. Thank you. We had a big year. You'll notice the picture on the front there shows our new location. We opened in January, had a new spot, and we're thrilled to be neighbors with the Downtown Association and close, within walking distance, once people get out of their cars. They don't have to get back in them to find great places to eat or places to visit, right around the corner from the carousel. So we're really thrilled with that. We don't have the reader board with the drive traffic anymore because it was right on Highway 20. That was kind of nice that we could promote events that way, but we are working with the tools we have, which includes our app. You'll notice in there that a few screenshots of our app we got to call out because we're using a little virtual tour guide. Her name is Ava, and if you download the app, she'll greet you and ask if you have any questions about what to see and do in Albany, and she'll create a personal itinerary for you based on your request. So those are kind of the highlights. We did have Cycle Oregon. We reported that in our last report because that was last September. And so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Good job.
Nick and Peggy, do you have questions for Rebecca? I have my back to you, so shout out if you do. Anyone else?
No, I read it earlier and it looked great, Rebecca.
Thank you. One more thing I'd like to point out, we do have some new staff. If you haven't been by our new location, please stop by and say hi to Lona Fauci. She is our visitor services representative and our greeter at the front desk. Great, thank you.
Thanks. Next in my packet, and hopefully all of yours, the Downtown Association. Please.
Thank you.
Hi.
I don't have a lot to say. You've got some of our information, and it's one of the longer presentations. But I did want to share that last night at council, I reminded folks of our upcoming awards. We're always excited that the community participates in those and provides us bullet points of deserving downtown businesses. So Monday night, we'll be posting those for our members, community partners, and others downtown. Also, I pointed out, I do go to council at least once a month, usually twice a month, and I do a downtown update with our newsletter. And last night, because council had taken a break, we did a little bit of a catch up. I always like to have different things in there. And one of the things that we do is our Meet the Neighbors. Most recently, we've done things on gluten-free foods, mocktails. We did one on simple pleasures. So places downtown that you might buy a plant or get some beans or things like that. Something else I love to highlight and will be a big part of our awards is our volunteer appreciation. Each month in our newsletter, there is a volunteer spotlight. In recent 6 months, we highlighted Oscar Holt and Gabe Anderson, who are strong community leaders, business owners, and former board members. We've also highlighted Beth Walker and Julie Jackson. Again, strong community partners, as well as current board members. Eileen Alvarado is someone that comes to mind as a very special volunteer. She is at West Albany High School. She's a junior. She chooses to come after school for her internship 2 to 3 times a week. Always enthusiastic. Can I please come help with hanging baskets? But of course. So she has helped organize the lights that go around the trees and a lot of things. She's part of their accounting program. She's also started a business through the school there, and they sell smoothies, and I hear they're quite successful, and her classmate and business partner will be attending the awards. So we're delighted to have that youth and diversity in our midst. Anyway, so just a wonderful mix of people that volunteer. The other one that we highlighted was Jessica Pankratz, who's been a board member and supporter for years and has helped us with a lot of fundraising so that we don't have to ask for quite as much. So anyway, that's what I have. If you have any questions, I'm always available to answer
I'm
things.
going to start with Nick and Peggy again. You guys have any questions for Lisa?
I don't. Nice job, Lisa.
Thank
I
you.
do. Nice job, Lisa.
Okay, how about the rest of you?
Very straightforward. Thank you.
I have one thing I wanted to say for the minutes, and that's that I am really impressed. Nothing against what this program's been in the past, but you've got it running on all 4 of the Main Street USA points, and that is not easy to do. There usually is one lagging or just lying in the dirt. You've got such a good effort going, and the volunteer level seems so strong. So congratulations, that is not easy to do.
Thank you. And if I can add one more thing, we are very pleased to announce that the statewide conference will be held here next October.
Oh, good.
We hosted the first one 15 years ago, and then a Main Street on the Move, I believe it was 2018, where we hosted the awards, and then everybody got the bus, went to other Main Streets.
Fun.
But they were here for a preliminary walkthrough of locations, and we're anticipating 200 to 300 people in attendance. So that's exciting. We've moved our date. It's the second week of October. I'll get you the dates. But
Thanks for bringing those people to town.
Yeah, well, the League of Oregon
Because they'll talk about us.
The League of Oregon Cities asked that we move our date because they moved their date. Because the mayors asked
To move their day.
because of the venue that they needed. So I assume that means that all the mayors from the entire state will be attending. We'll be working on that. They asked us to move the date so they can attend. So
All right.
anyway, and we do have a weekly Main Street Zoom meeting. It was started by one of my colleagues up in Beaverton. So we do have a way to connect every month. We do have a learning session, at least one of those sessions. And I was delighted to present with Rebecca and with Janet Steele on how to, they kept saying stay in your own lane, but I like to say how we work together and walk down that path. So that's very fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have also in front of us the Monteith Historical Society's report, and it's good to see that they're doing so much with such a small amount. That used to be a lot on Oscar's shoulders when he was a roaring volunteer with that group. So I'm impressed with what they're doing. You have any thoughts, Oscar?
Looks like they're doing lots of good stuff.
Lots of good stuff, right? Okay, so
Outstanding.
yeah, big pieces there. All right, so that takes care of our agency reports. Next, I have collaborative tourism and promotion, what our audience, for the most part, is here for. I thought we would just kind of go from the staff's memo in no particular order. A-Town, actually, it looks like it's alphabetical though, so that might have been a bunch. A-Town Pizza Fest, new marketing program for $10,000. In our packet, we have proposals for all but that. No, I'm sorry, that one was in the proposal packet. I didn't see the application for it. Is that correct?
Correct. So it looked like for the email that they sent that the link was not working for the actual application. So that's how they submitted.
Okay, well, that's, I think, forgivable, Bob.
Well,
I know.
everybody else did
I was
it,
able to.
and I just think that I don't know what took place, what the problem was, but everyone else got one. So,
Well, and this-
I don't know what the issue is.
Right. And actually, aren't they just a block away? Had problems, I got walked over it.
So we promised we were gonna do tough love after we made that call last time to be lenient. So do I hear anyone that would want to not do this tough love? Follow the rules?
Are they here? Anyone here from them?
Didn't see anybody.
I just
A-Town
have
Pizza
one
Fest?
question,
Yeah,
if
Nick.
that's okay. I just wanted to know, just to that point of reaching out if the link wasn't working, is there any, just for everyone to know, was it documented anywhere that they reached out potentially and said, hey, this is working? Is there another link to use? It's more just for peace of mind.
Jennifer?
I didn't receive any communication until this actually came.
And when did this come?
Actually, it looks like September.
So there's been time since to,
And when was our deadline?
September.
September 1st?
Yes. So
Did this come September 1st?
September 1st, they didn't hit the deadline anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so I would like the record to show that it did not meet the application deadline, nor did it have the application contents we asked for. And not that we're usually so hard-nosed, but it's a basic application. And so, does anyone, one more time, does anyone want to advocate for considering this?
Now, I will make a recommendation
No.
if we feel like this is something that we would like to fund, like we did last time. We had money, we saved some of the money so we could revisit it early in 2025.
I support Bob's suggestion. If there's funding left, this is one that we could encourage them to put in front of us.
I second Bob's suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, was that a motion?
Make a motion.
That was a motion, and Nick has given us a second. Further conversation? All in favor? Aye. All right, that's, again, sorry they didn't make the lines, but it makes it fair for everybody. All right, so next in the packet, Albany Visitors Association, the Extended Digital Marketing Program, a request for $9,900. Who's speaking on that one? We have your application in front of us. What would you like to add?
I think the application speaks for itself. We, when we're done with this, I believe we're going to be reporting on the previous awards. And I do have a copy of the videos that we had produced from the previous award. One of those videos will be turned into a 30-second promotion to be able to air outside of the 50-mile radius, primarily in the Washington area, which we've identified as one of our prime markets for overnight stays.
Okay.
So I'll show you the video after if there's time.
Thank you for holding it. Any questions? So my thought is they're each going to tell us a little bit about their program and anything about the application, and then we'll have our conversation. So thank you, Rebecca. Next up, Albany Visitors Association Marketing Video Tour Program. Welcome, Rebecca.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you again today. We currently have digital tours through a company called Threshold 360, where they have 360 virtual tours through 20 different locations here in Albany. That includes all of our hotels, the Carnegie Library, the YMCA, the Expo Center, the Blue Walks. So places that people will want to come and see, and it helps them to see what they're in for when they get here. It's a very well done video and tour. However, it is out of our budget. We're not going to be able to continue with that next year. And that contract with them ends this calendar year. So we have asked a local videographer, Horsepower Productions, John Harris, to give us this proposal for doing some walkthrough videos that could essentially provide that same level of understanding what people are walking into when they walk through the door, when they walk through the lobby and the halls and the hotel rooms and things like that. And then we would own those videos. We would put them on our YouTube. We would still have the links from our website from each of those facilities, but we wouldn't have to pay for the platform. And he did explain to me the platform is great, and for him to be able to do the same thing, it would still be that expensive, $12,000 a year, because of the software that's required to do that. But by him doing a walkthrough video, it'll just be like a YouTube video. People can choose to watch the whole 3 minutes, or they can fast forward to the next one, but that way it helps with our accessibility for letting people see what they can expect when they get here.
Reading this book, correct me if I'm wrong. This is on lodging facilities here. And are any of the lodging facilities helping to the expense?
We believe they are, because they are the ones who pay the transient lodging tax dollars to the city of Albany, and no other businesses pay that kind of tax. So yes, we believe that they are contributing in that way. So we don't ask that they contribute more.
Right.
And they do also partner with us for baskets and things like that. In fact, we just have the Denim and Diamonds Women for Ag Expo that's coming up. And they asked that we do an Albany package, and we already have a hotel that stepped up to give us an overnight stay to represent Albany. So we do ask for those kind of things when we can. But not for this promotion, we feel like they've already contributed.
And it looks like the big bucks are coming through the Travel Oregon program. There's a grant for this one? No, that's the other one.
We did receive a grant from Travel Oregon for $98,000, and that's part of our website redevelopment and accessibility. It does not include this video.
Okay. Other conversation, questions, anything from you guys behind me? Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Cap and STEM Northwest. Hi.
So I think our application says a lot, but we did have the first annual Albany Mushroom
You're
Festival.
Deidre.
I'm Deidre Lafferty, sorry.
Thank you.
This is Patrick Winchesky.
They're taking this into electronic minutes, so they just have to start. Yeah, that's okay.
Yes, I'm Deidre Lafferty, Executive Director for Cap and STEM Northwest. Patrick Winchesky is one of our staff. We hosted this last Sunday, Albany's first annual Mushroom Festival at Timberland Park. We had, our best estimate is, emergency services come and look, and they estimated about 6,500 people at one point midday. And we had more than that because people kept coming afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah, we had over 90 local vendors there, doing everything from food to handmade crafts to education about mushrooms and foraging and the medicinal benefits of different mushrooms and how they can help people. And we had live music.
We had live music, we had educational workshops. It was a free, community, family-friendly event focused on education and health. As Dee mentioned, we kind of got steamrolled. We were expecting like 2,000 to 3,000, but some estimates are showing almost 10,000 people showed up at our event. We had to stop counting because our volunteers were needed elsewhere.
Yeah.
It was an absolutely incredible day. The community came in from all over Oregon and the Pacific Northwest. We had one gentleman fly in from China to Albany for our event. He was a mushroom vendor from China. We had a mushroom vendor from Canada drive down to Albany for our event. And so we had such an incredible response from the community in terms of attendees. All of our vendors are small local businesses making handcrafted themed items. And we heard from several vendors that this was the most successful event that they have ever vended at. A lot of our food vendors sold out, mid-afternoon. Cam's Wood Fired Pizza had to go home, make some more pizza sauce. Nick's Soul Food sold out twice that day. And it was an absolutely incredible response from the community. And not only with the festival, but we also had a bunch of businesses downtown and throughout Albany support us. We had Sybaris Bistro, Camille's Bistro, a tattoo parlor here in town, Sniffany's Pet Boutique, Urban Egg Supply, Observer's Books, all have a mushroom themed special or display the week leading up to the event. And we heard on Monday from Councilor Ray Kopstinski that people from the Mushroom Festival made their way downtown after our event and rode on the carousel in their mushroom outfits. So it's just so cool to see that this event kind of leaked into Albany the day of and the week prior. It was just really excellent to see the community come together and support that.
We did it all with volunteers. Completely volunteer run.
Yeah, we were able to scrape what we put together. We have some really big goals for next year, including a much larger volunteer force, hopefully. We could do some parking attendance would be excellent.
Yes.
But, and I believe our grant outline or our proposal outlines our desire to compensate some of our performers and artists who helped out so much during the process, to pay the musicians that volunteered their time for us would be so excellent. And it would help set us up for next year. We have some huge plans for next year. If things, align appropriately, potentially a multiple day festival, just like so much more structural organization, some like really strong response from like local community, potentially at a more downtown central location, depending on how things go, a larger music venue, bigger musicians, bigger bands. These are all kind of things that are swirling around our heads, but we're still kind of riding the wave from the very
We're doing
intense.
feedback surveys for everybody, attendees, volunteers, vendors, to see, what do they want to see next year at Albany's second annual Mushroom Festival. But we kind of did this all through donations and through volunteers this year.
Yeah, the mayor was there, Mayor Alex Johnson. I don't know if you've all seen pictures, I'm sure. He got in a little costume, he had a cane, he was walking around, introducing himself to every single vendor there, taking pictures. It was just so heartwarming to see people of Albany coming and supporting these small local vendors and just like really putting Albany on the map for this whole community.
I think my favorite part is we did a scavenger hunt that was free, and we had so many kids and parents and families come in and really enjoy the scavenger hunt. We got a special sticker if they finished it.
They learned something.
They learned so many facts about mushrooms, and they just thanked us so much for giving them something free and fun to do on their Sunday here in Albany. So we were really, really grateful for that. Any questions?
Question, Pam.
Yeah.
So,
Sharon?
so I'm a little confused. So when did you actually apply? It looks like you had applied just the beginning of September.
We applied before the deadline.
And so why so late then?
It was their understanding that we were supposed to wait until September, till the end to apply. We probably misunderstood that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So basically this, you're just wanting to, is this for next year's event?
We thought that we had to do it and ask for reimbursement for what we spent.
Because this is
We didn't know we could ask for it ahead of time.
because this is our first event, at least my interpretation of was to ask for and also the timing of our festival is kind of awkward.
With our stuff, yeah.
Right.
So we were asking for a reimbursement for all the things that we just kind of described and what's detailed there.
To be used for next year's festival too.
Yeah.
So that we can utilize
So you probably heard our conversation earlier about, following our process when it comes to the timeline. So does that mean that you have expenses that weren't paid for then, since you're seeking
No, we were-
reimbursement?
Everything is paid.
Everything is paid for. In fact, we have like a tiny bit left in our account, but this is just to support us for next year, because I think there's something about if it's our first event, we ask for 70% of something, and then the second year is 30%.
Right.
So we want to really emphasize this first year, try to hit that mark.
Yeah. We try to have it for these grants is not to be ongoing, for events to be relying on these funds. It's just more of a startup type, to support an event. Yeah.
So my question was on that same line, but more towards staff. We need to hit all the expenditures that we're giving grants for by the end of the city's fiscal year, which is June. Is it possible for you guys to have ramped up and spent the requests that you have in here by June?
by next June.
This coming June?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be reimbursing yourself for last year, the event, well, last week, the event that you just had. We have this with another one of our applicants too. So I want us to talk a little bit about timing. Sit down at our next meeting, because it seems like we had two and we crashed on another one last year. Same deal, where these fall events, which are probably the best time of year for us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so rethinking our timing a little bit, but, from the staff standpoint, what time do you guys need to have your receipts in hand to be able to meet the end of the year deadline? I know I just put you on the spot.
The end of the fiscal year is June 30th of 2025.
Right.
So at what point I would have to check with finance, but I would assume it's usually
About mid-June.
Yeah.
Okay,
Final.
yeah. So just want you to know, working with the city, not always easy. And they do have a lot of stuff that they're doing at the fiscal year end, so I understand why that is, but.
Clarification from myself. Does this program run? I have my very first meeting. I'm been here 20 minutes. I presume this pays out on a reimbursement basis, like other programs. And that's probably where they got that idea.
I get that.
So I'm confused about the difference and
Yeah, they're having the approval ahead so that you know the money's coming is kind of the norm.
because
But
they couldn't get any approval.
Yeah. And having a conversation with staff would have maybe clarified that for you,
Yeah.
but how would you know who to even begin to talk with? And maybe there's a name on there and Sophie's out. So,
And my name is all listed on the website.
Oh, it is, yeah,
and everything.
oh,
Yeah,
excellent.
it was prior to the
That's
application
good to know.
opening on July 1st.
Yeah.
Okay, so reimbursing you for the event that you just had, not
Can't do it.
in our, yeah, I think that's a pretty hard no. And then the ability to look forward for your second year, as Sharon pointed out, we have, do you remember what the percentages have or something?
70%, yeah, I think.
70% for year
30%,
one,
Yeah.
That would be your first year applying.
first year applying, but not the first year of the event. So that's, I was trying to find my piece of paper that has
But
the
what you do is you
application.
do your budget projections for what your events are going to cost. And then and then as whatever you're awarded for the grant, then to be reimbursed, you have to have receipts to prove. That's what it is.
So we did our projections, we did this before the event. We should have got actual receipts, but
Sure.
we didn't get the approval first.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think that's clear
Bob?
online.
Well,
Yeah, sorry about
Thank you.
that, but yeah.
Similar to what we did first item that we looked at.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Since if we're going to do this for funding for 2025, most of the expenses can be incurred. June 30th, we could allocate some additional funds and revisit this in January.
We could do the 30% that's for a second year event and revisit it. Does everybody like that idea? Any concerns with it?
Yeah, we have that.
Peggy?
No, I'm good with that.
I'm good with that as well.
Okay. So,
It's just all we're doing is we have to make sure that we like the project. We can push it to funding in January.
If there's a-
and
So that, I mean, there really was no way for us to get funding this year because we didn't plan it until after.
Mhm.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Your timing and our timing was
So it
off.
just didn't match.
But
Just the
Yeah.
point of it. So they would be able to get funded at 70%. For their first.
again, I'm trying to put my hand on the application packet. Where did I bury it?
I think, well,
Next year,
but
maybe
then-
there's a certain.
I like what they do.
but we won't know how much.
Yeah, but I can't.
We won't.
That's not how we understand. The understanding that applicants get is your first application, whether you've done it 10 times or not. The first time you apply for any event, that's your first event funded by the city. The second time you apply for that same event, that's 70%. The third time you apply, that's 30%. That's what it's understood by us reading it. So
Well,
if
it
you're
says
saying that we're
70%.
100%, we're only going to get 70, that Doesn't make any sense.
It's a 70%
I worked
grant
for a city.
being the first year, up to 30% second year.
But the first time you apply, not the first
I
time.
hear
you do
what
the event.
Linda's saying. It is, it needs to have its language cleaned up. The intent was 70% for a first year event,
Being funded.
first year event.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right.
Then who gets 100%? Nobody.
Nobody.
Well, that should be made clear, because it's not.
Say, there have been events that have been happening for many, many years, and they add a new aspect to their event, and they can get that funded at 100%. So one of the areas that they're talking about that they want to improve from this year for next year is parking. Maybe they could apply for help with getting parking back, or if they need porta potties. I think they could revamp their application to say, we're gonna add these other things to make it a better visitor experience, and then apply for funding to offset those costs that
So-
they
Thanks, Rebecca. My suggestion to you is the two of you go huddle out in the hallway and come back after we hear from the next two folks with the ideas of what it is that you'll be doing that's new and different from what you did this year. Okay? And in trying to balance, yes, I realize you'll have a different budget, but I think we could work around the budget a little bit with you to be flexible. Knowing that you have provided a budget, just highlight the ones that we could look at to try to get your percentage above that 30.
Okay.
All right, sound fair? All right. Sure. We're gonna come look for you if you're not back.
Okay.
All right, good luck. Who says we're not flexible? We're gonna move on. Lynn Benton, Hispanic Advisory Committee, has a Festival Latino project, which has just happened, right?
Yes, we just had the first festival after COVID.
And your names?
My name is Millie Wilson. I'm at the library as my day job, and I'm Millie. We're in the hat.
My name is Christian Galvez. I am the Benton County co-chair. Leadership models to co-chair leadership roles.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Pam, Pam,
Hi, can you hear them?
no, when they're that far away from the owl, I'm sure Nick's experiencing it as well. Yeah.
Yes.
You can't
I've
hear
been
them.
wondering, but neither of you complained. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, there's the system. Okay.
So I started up with HAC in 2017, the Hispanic Advisory Committee, and Festival. Yes, I can. Festival has been an event that has been in Lynn and Benton counties for 19 iterations, but this was a revamped version after the pandemic, and we have been in the Monteith Park previously, but because of park remodel and things, we worked with Parks and Recreation to be in Timberland, and it was a wonderful place for us. We had over 650 attendees, as well as 31 resource booths, and did a lot of intentional work to connect visitors to those resource booths and vendors. We had 3 different food vendors that did quite well in selling things, and a passport activity that had children going to each of the booths. But this festival is all volunteer run. All of us are in organizations and meet at this advisory board as sort of a secondary activity. And so we're very strapped. Our bandwidth is low, and we felt that we have not brought in the audience that would be possible, and really the tourism dollars that come with it for an event that could be marketed well. And that's not something we have money or access to as individuals. And so our hope is that with some funding, we could really, really amplify our outreach to different communities. We have the chance to do a radio campaign on a Mid-Willamette channel, Radio Poder, out of Salem, that would like to promote the event up and down from Woodburn through Lebanon. And we also have members that do outreach to their communities, but it's very small, and we would like to have an expanded Facebook campaign and some other strategies to hopefully bring in double or more the crowd and connect them with a larger array of food vendors and local offerings It is a 4-hour festival, so it is the perfect event for someone to come into town, but to also get a meal, to start out with a lunch or to do a little shopping after. So it is, I think, positioned well to be an asset to our town.
I can just add that this last year we kept track as best as we could of where people come from through surveys, and so we had nearly 50 entries on our participation survey, indicating we had visitors from as far as Eugene, Lebanon, the coast that came for this festival. The reach wasn't very high again because we're limited in sources, but we did run a campaign as big as we could. So using Facebook, using our personal contacts. And so I can tell you there is no other Latino festival in the valley of this size, of this reach. The nearest one would be Salem, Woodburn area. Nothing in Eugene, nothing in Corvallis. So this is it for the heart of the valley. Like she said, it's volunteer run. First time it happened was in 1997, Mega Foods parking lot. I think it's only happened 3 or 4 times in Corvallis, but the rest of those times always been in Albany, and we think that it will stay that way because the bulk of the volunteers are from here. That includes high school students that feel identified with, what we're promoting here. So, and we have information here. 30-something resource booths from state and other agencies that came trying to connect with our community. And so far our finances have depended on their donations. And so we know we can count to some extent on that. But I think the reason why we're here is because our event's still small and we need help getting it to the next level. So we need a big campaign that puts the information in people's minds, and then from that point on, it will be some that they can count on, so to speak.
We had enough success with sponsorships this year to have a larger budget throwing the festival next year in small ways, like having another act or a bigger act. And so that makes us excited to try to invite people to it. We had 100% on the survey say they would love to attend this event again, and they will tell people to attend. But we could bring many more people in, I think, but families expressed having just a wonderful time, finding Albany to be a lovely space, and that they felt really welcome here.
So Melly, I missed at the very beginning, you said that you had how many attendees?
650.
That, I know I got it wrong.
Unique raffle entries. And so anyone who didn't take a raffle ticket for their baby or their husband, I mean, that's a low count, but that was our minimum threshold.
So I want to give you the word pilot. What you did this year was try something to see if it would stick. And I want to treat you as if you really weren't, you're revving up to make a mega event, is what I'm hearing, and what this marketing will surprise with the mushroom folks, right? Yeah, it could really surprise you with a little bit of marketing what you could do. So I think that I don't think I'm being unfair to say that this is just this was a trial.
The 30th year.
It's not been consistent, and there's like, it strikes me as something that's really never fully grasped its potential. So these guys are taking it to the next, not just the next level, they're reinventing it.
I agree, but I was hoping that since I was seeing that you were having out at Timberland, that I thought, okay, maybe this will bring in a lot more, people. So, I mean, I attended the 1997, I've been around a long time, and I attended many of the, festival, Latinos.
Thank you for speaking and opening our festival.
And down at Monteith. And I think the last one, gosh, I think we had a booth there with the Human Relations Commission, and I believe there was probably about 400 that attended. And so really I'm disappointed to see that it was just 650. And when Rosa Placenta and Iris Carrasco had, coordinated it for many years too, they really struggled to kind of build it up, to be able to get people, to come down. And And they would have it, I remember on they tried Sundays and they tried Saturdays and, it was just really hard to get more people to attend. We'd mentioned back then as having to be more of a multicultural type event, be able to get, other types of food, to be able to bring in more people. And that never seemed to be going that route. Have you considered any of that as trying to bring in other cultures too?
So our push for that has been to really expand it through Latin America, that this is not going to be Festival Mexicana or something.
Wow.
This is really an expanded thing in the Americas, but with the goal of inviting everyone to have a really good time and come enjoy some good food. So this year, there's an effort to get an El Salvadoran vendor, for example, to have a little bit of a shakeup of food, and that is a big goal for us, but there wasn't talk about expanding it beyond sort of Latin America, I would say.
It makes sense to me what you've done in Latin America, Central America.
Right.
That's a big bunch of people.
If this is funding for next year, we've got the same issue.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I've got here is that I only see $1,000 or $1,100, but you're asking for $8,000. I don't see any support for that dollar.
Yeah, the quote that was included in the application. Right.
I've only got one deal for $1,100. I don't see anything for $8,000.
So you guys have a lot of sponsors on here.
Yeah.
How much money do you bring in off of sponsorship?
Yeah.
I think that's what we're not seeing.
So, of donors, we received 8,628 and 81 cents this year in donations.
$8,628 of donations and sponsorship.
Sponsorship.
So they don't have, you're right, Bob, that's not on here. But I saw this and went, well, there's money hiding somewhere. So it's not in their budget.
I didn't see anything about what the income was or what the expense was.
Okay,
So on marketing,
and I have not, I admit, I haven't seen the sheet that was submitted to you from our other
Right.
co-chair.
This was submitted, this a week, 2 weeks before our event. So we're all volunteers. So whatever time we could grasp to put it together but it is acknowledged that that's our weakness is marketing, and that's what we need. And so as you were alluding, the people that have run it for many times, Rosa and Iris, Rosa, she's a mental health therapist, Iris, a school teacher. We just don't have the marketing know-how in our group, right? And so I worked as a performer for many years, and so I do know some things about promoting events. And so in fact, Festival Latino had not done a Facebook campaign before until this year we did. And so we know that, and maybe this helps you understand, I guess, or know that, Facebook doesn't give you a rate. It's like, how much do you want to spend? And then they will advertise it to the amount that you set your budget to. If you want to spend $5,000, they'll put an ad on your phone and everybody else's phone in a 50-mile radius, and it'll pop every 3 days. But if you only spend $200, then only 200 people see it. 5 minutes. And so this is the amount that we more or less discussed that'll help us get lots of different streams of marketing: radio, posters, print, media, social media, etc.
Yeah. And see, what we're missing is like the other applicants have given us how many of what and what's the cost for each of those. And so how badly would it mess you guys up if we said, come back and talk to us in January with that piece of paper in hand and plan to spend it by the end of the fiscal year?
And that's, so I'll answer your first question second.
I'm going to mess you up.
Advertisement can be prepaid. So even if our event happens in September, we can make all those expenses and seek reimbursement June 30th or June 15th easily. That's no problem. Printing posters, all that can be done well in advance. As far as messing it us up, I don't think that's a big deal because we meet on a monthly basis, and so this is not our full-time job. So I'm trying to say. So.
Oh yeah, you're all volunteers. We understand. I'd like to suggest that we ask them to do that and not entertain this today. Does anyone want to advocate, including you guys, that we need to do this today instead of in January when we have a better picture of what you're trying to do with the budget?
No, only if there's a risk of losing opportunity for funds, of course, but if there is.
I mean, if all you can entertain is the figure that we sent, that we were able to attach,
Yeah, that was
it's
just the
something
one.
better than nothing, you know? So,
But I think we can
By
do better for you.
having a budget, then we know that we're spending this much in radio, this
Right.
much.
Yeah,
And right now, it's just a number.
okay,
Mhm.
absolutely.
In
So a
gen-
more robust breakdown of
It's
it.
more
In January-
accurate as to what is it going to cost you to do the event, and then how can we help you?
So the one question I have is in January, they would still be projections, right? They won't be expenses yet, they'll be projections.
True. Yeah.
And that's all you need.
You don't have to have a contract.
So, quotes.
Don't spend it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you
So I guess my question is, if you spend all this money on marketing, are you going to have a problem when 7,000 people show up at the park?
Great question. No, these are conversations that we have. In fact, we just had a group meeting, was yesterday or 2 days ago?
Tuesday.
And I was trying to be the voice of reason, because very much when excitement comes about and, it's easy to dream big. But then I was thinking, we really have the bandwidth to support a 7,000 people workshop. And so we have to balance it to what we can do. And so we're not aspirating to a 7,000 people event, but certainly some in excess of.
But it's not a kind of thing where somebody signs up in advance, so 7,000 people could.
Surprise.
And,
Yes.
I mean, you just heard somebody that they weren't expecting to have 7,000 people out at the, their place.
Yeah.
So it's one of those.
We wish you success, but be prepared for success, right? Okay.
Because you're gonna need then lots of porta johns and all that, and that's gonna be.
And that
way more
costs a lot. Exactly. Yeah.
So- Jennifer, I'd ask that you work with them a little bit. Maybe you could give them some sample budgets from these other applications, just so that they know what it is we're looking for. And with that,
Yeah, it's posted online because the agenda is all public.
oh, that's true. You can go dig in yourself. Yeah.
But it'll give you some example, a variety of different examples.
And I think you're gonna wanna know that kind of stuff anyway, if you really are thinking of ramping it up,
Yes.
as well as the policing and parking and all the rest of it that comes with success.
Sure.
I look forward to seeing you guys again. We don't know when we're meeting yet. Stick to the end of the meeting, we may have a date. Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
And would you like a comprehensive budget as far as all expenses, or is that just encompassing the marketing?
I think it helps us to know that there's other money in here.
Okay.
You heard us ask Rebecca or somebody, what are the hotel motels putting into this? And so, yeah, it helps us to see the big picture as well as then the more details, specifics.
Okay.
And I do think opening up the applications that have been submitted in this agenda packet will give you ideas.
Wonderful.
It doesn't have to be pages. Please don't do that.
Okay. And is there anything that you would recommend that we can do to show kind of the growth of this event? Is it still possible for us to present this as a revamped thing? I mean, so much of it is in flux with this bigger budget and more sponsorship that it feels like it is transforming. And I just want to be ready to communicate that if we're coming back in January.
Use those words.
Okay.
Yeah, we give you room for like 6 sentences. So,
And you two have a great resource too with our Visitors Association. So, I mean, they're ones that they put events online and they might be a good resource too. So,
Rebecca, is this something that you could help them with? Okay. The phone numbers.
Thank you, Rebecca.
All right. Thanks, guys. I know this is a really good effort.
Yeah.
Really
Thank
important
you.
for the community. Okay. So we're meeting in January. Sorry, guys. Gallery Calapooya, extended marketing.
Okay, I've got,
You are Linda Hurd.
I am Linda Hurd, yes, and I am one of the artists, the founding artists of California. And I thank you very much for letting us show up again. I've got copies of something I'm going to present today, or speak about today. And it's about, I'll have to email that to you, Jennifer. It's about how economic development is so well supported by the arts and culture, and how Gallery Calpullia is part of that project. That when we built the gallery in 2013, Albany didn't have a lot of the things that it has now, and it's really developed a lot. And we've got precedent that we have here. I think that the gallery has been a very strong component of the downtown success. I mean, Oscar is a huge portion of it, the restaurants. But economic development isn't always, they don't always recognize the arts and culture sector and the impact that it has on cities' development. Things like tourism and transportation are great, but getting people to come around. When you have arts and culture going on in the city, it gives people a sense of safety and security. They feel like this is a place that has activity and their feet on the street, and I can come down here and feel safe. The arts is also usually isolated because it isn't seen as that kind of thing. You think of industry is developing a city and tourism, hotels and things like that. So what is it that draws them? Well, if you're trying to get people to live downtown and make an activity there, you have to have it created to feel like there's something to go to. There are restaurants, there are activities happening. And in the city of Overland Park, Kansas, they say that the young professional is looking for a place to live. They want a city with exciting development activity, increasing job opportunities, and a quality of a place with a host of leisure time entertainment activities. So if you have a well-placed arts district, or like we have First Avenue right now is pretty much the downtown, actually. The Second Avenue is coming back, and we've got lots of things going on, and it's all part of everybody working together. And so some of the things that arts and culture add to a city becoming as well recognized as Albany is doing, you have public safety, which is where communities with arts and culture feel safer. The residents feel that the arts community acts as a bridge between the community and the police, because you're creating things that are legal, so to speak. You know, there people are like, when we have the wine walk, people are out on the streets and they're walking around. Nobody feels like, oh, we're gathering illegally. We can really do this. Infrastructure, places that are well lit and have public art or murals, pedestrians, it's a vibrant community. Housing, if you want a community to be vibrant, you need housing. And people, I mean, I'm from New York City and I love to live where things are happening downtown, and being able to look out my window and seeing people walk around. If I could live downtown in an apartment, I'd be really happy. But I love my house in the historic district. But something about being able to be there where stuff is happening, that's really good. Education, there's a vast resource. Showing a child with a minimum arts education, they perform better academically and socially because they gain confidence. The gallery has the 8x8 shows, known as the Big Show for Little Art. And we have kids, because we have no age limit, we have no jury fee, and kids bring stuff in and we hang it with everybody else's art. It's not segregated, oh, here's the kids section. And kids come in and the look on their face that they're being taken seriously for something that they've created. Their self-esteem just rockets. And they're so in love with this thing, and their grandparents come and everybody, you know, and everything has to be for sale. And we had a little boy one time, didn't want to sell it. And he said, well, how do I keep people from buying it? And I said, oh, put $1,000 on it. And he said, how about $2,000? I said, yeah, you do that. But he was just so pleased that he was being involved and included with adults and being taken seriously as an artist. And his art was childlike because he was 7, but you know, you have people who say, I don't want my kid to do art because they'll never get a job. Well, somebody went to art school, designed this clipboard. You know, it's not an exclusive, it's not everybody Rembrandt. It's what feeds your soul. Health, you find that art therapy programs are really helpful. The gallery artists, we don't have the space to do that, but we're working with people right now to see if we can organize something. I have a proposal that we haven't signed on to yet, but it would be great to have an art camp. And we're trying to figure out how we can do that. We're not asking you to fund that, but you know, that sort of things. And then demographics, it says artworks tend to unite people of different ages and various social backgrounds. And the mayor of Scottsdale, Arizona said that Scottsdale is a city of the arts, and we should be very proud of that well-earned reputation. It's good for our economy and it's good for our soul. And I think Albany has an amazing soul, but it needs to be fed. And I would love to see the gallery continue to do this. And not understanding how this application works, many of the things we've asked for are things we did on the last application, but they're pretty much all local things. One of the best things we've done, and I know Rebecca can speak to this, we've been involved with Travel Oregon, and we developed rack cards that show all the things that are going on with our gallery. And Travel Oregon is putting them in 2 locations at Portland Airport, and then putting them out at different city visitor centers around the state of Oregon, mostly near the Willamette Valley, because we're not sure people up in Burns are going to come all the way this way. But, you know, if we had the thought that it would really work, we'd put them in Idaho, you know, because people driving would come that way. And then the second piece of promotion that we made is called Art on the Go. And it's a 4-fold color map that shows where the galleries are from just north of Salem down to south of Eugene. And we put them in different places, but we've given them to, because we got them funded, we were able to give them to the galleries. And it's had a huge success, because what it does is say, if you're traveling on I-5 and you have this map, you could get off, and instead of going to a rest area for a quick stop, you could go into Albany and go to Brick and Mortar for lunch, or you could go to Camille's or wherever place it's open and have something nice, because people know that artists don't have money. So if we're recommending a restaurant to you, we're saying it's going to be worth the money you spent. And we've got things out at Lynn County Fairgrounds that we've had people come in and say, oh, you know, my husband was out there at the gun show, and we sell your rat card, so we came into town, what is there to do in town? And we tell them, oh, there's this, and there's natural sprinkles, and there's margin coffee. And people come back and they say, I'm so glad you told me, because I didn't know there was this, or so I think that if we can put the rat cards in all of the businesses that are downtown, it encourages people to do that, to say to other people, yeah, there's this or there's that. And one day what we're hoping to do is be able to have like a whole thing of downtown Albany, where the gallery is able to promote all the businesses that are downtown, but they change sometimes. So, you know, not every restaurant is there, and you pay a lot of money to get something printed and it's not there. But, and we also advertise on KGAL K-Show Radio, which is one of the amazing places because, first of all, it's really affordable. And Charlie Eads is a wonderful person. He does great promotion, and the ads run a lot. And I don't listen to it that much because it's not particularly I listen to NPR, but we did last year do KLCC at a great expense. And it was a great promotion, and a lot of people came and told us from Eugene that they heard it, but we didn't have the stats to really back up doing that again. It's a lot. 14,000 is a lot of money. And KGAL K-Show is local. It promotes local businesses, and Charlie will do interviews with you for free. If he knows you're being open late on the holidays, he tells people. The other thing is the Willamette Living. Yes, we pay for ads in that, as you do, but like Oscar, for example, has a wonderful quarterly, I guess it's in every issue, something about being dressed a certain way, or how do you do this, or, and it's great. And if you write an article, because they're starving for information, if you write an article, it's well read, they'll publish it for free. So we have all these resources that we'd love to keep using. And I made a list here of the things that were on the application, because of course I forgot to bring it with me. I've recently been diagnosed with ADHD, and I thought, I'm the poster child. But like, well, I should have been born with Ritalin in my hand. But let me see. And we would like to make tote bags that we can either give out, or we would sell them, obviously. But a lot of times, the gallery is a co-op. So when people come around and say, we're having a Boys and Girls Club fundraiser, could you donate something? Well, you have to ask each individual artist. It's not a gallery donation. Well, if we have these tote bags, that could be part of it, because it's not any singular artist's work. It's something that the gallery has that we can give out. And then that helps us integrate ourselves into the neighborhood. And they're really high quality tote bags too. They're really nice. And then postcards and posters, we also have, which we do for each first Friday when we have featured artists. Those go out, and those are produced at Lynn Benton Community College. And then we have these takeaways. They're called artist takeaways, and they're little, like an index card size, and it has images and little things about the artist individually, and they're at their panels. So someone comes in and they say, well, this artist isn't here, but I'm interested in what they're doing. So they take it, and it tells Susan Bourdette is a wonderful watercolorist, and she has a company called Lane that makes calendars, and they pay her to paint paintings every year. And so she's got this wonderful thing. Mine has a picture of me with only my legs sticking out of a dumpster at Bertram's Metal Salvage, because that's where I get metal for my jewelry. So, we're all trying, and it says right in there, I go to Bertram's. So the gallery is local people trying to promote the downtown Albany, and we wouldn't have succeeded if we hadn't had the support of downtown Albany. So I thank you very much. And thank you. Does anyone have questions for Linda?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Need to-
Shall we take a quick break?
Yep.
And let Linda breathe and we'll come back? All right.
Oh, I agree.
All right, thanks. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be back at 10 minutes till 5.
I am going to appreciation dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
I know,
Next.
5:30, so we did.
Yeah.
Before,
Yeah, where is it?
Senior Center.
Yeah.
Are you going?
They rebranded that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a open thing, so, yeah, you don't have to be there to break down the doors. Right?
I don't know how it's.
You're gonna laugh at this. I brought it, looked up somebody picking this up here.
Yeah, well.
I got upstairs and found the census and the spins. I was working and I.
And down.
And then there's the area before that. Yeah, I had it. It's the mom missing for 30 years. So, it should be. Also, that I can go on with it. Yeah, that's a big project out of nowhere because if I found someone that was researching $10,000 a room or something. Maybe somebody now that it's easier to do searches,
And you can do, printed models. They're not the same.
Because I thought about doing that for my upper family. I would love this. Yeah. And they pay for all the stuff. Anyway. Thank you. I guess we're back in the chair for another 2 years. So someone chose, I think I can do this.
These are from Rebecca. So this is the, they just keep up with my yes.
Good for you.
Thank Somebody put that.
I did all That's just a. Yeah. Need to be able to.
Yeah, great meeting.
I noticed that. Minutes. That's me. Okay, Diane, no, we got 2 minutes. I thought about it, make some transcripts. All right, these one that the open, should go back. Sunday to Sunday. Needed dementia. And so this is our 1 year. We're gonna talk about, all right, now I'm gonna start inviting people. How's it gonna work? We can do it, sell it. So.
I'll be there Saturday.
They're like.
The student will be there.
Man, I'm retired.
I know, so I just take on my phone.
Sitting here.
Yeah. 20 years ago. Right? I've changed something. I think it's one of the things we should do. Yeah. I'm gonna call back.
You're right.
Take that change.
Yeah. It used to be, I think, then it went 70.
Yeah, it did.
Now it's good. I think it's here now. I think we. Starting
This way doesn't make any sense.
but we had other for that we as a committee looked at all the other.
I'll tell you why it is. That I wanted to. We should have a conversation. Okay, I'm calling us back to order. Thanks for everyone, especially the treat providers. All right, so we've heard from all of the proposals in our packet, and now it's our turn to.
I submitted a proposal like back in August,
What was it for?
West Albany Junior Baseball.
We don't have it in front of us.
I have an email that you confirmed received. So
Do I need to run upstairs?
I think so.
I did not.
West Albany Junior Baseball.
yes, because you responded to me. Because I even have my application right in front of me.
Okay, let me,
Was this similar to the one last year? Or?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But my application was sent in on July 30th.
Thank you.
And how much was it?
yeah, thank you for speaking out to that. Let me go check that because.
Jennifer, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the mushroom proposals and see how their thoughts have kind of gelled. So take your time,
Yeah,
but not really.
I emailed you this morning too, but my first attachment failed. And so then on July 30th, I sent you another one. And said, it looks like my first attachment failed. Can you please let me know that you received this?
Okay, let me go remedy.
Did you send it to the cityof-albany.net or the Albany Oregon?
No, it went to Jennifer.
It went to
Oh,
Jennifer.
it did.
Yeah.
And she
I
did
did
it.
back and forth with her prior to before that.
She said the post reports.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you want me to read that while you guys are-
Yeah.
And this is why we're a little bit more frequent. It's okay.
That's why I'm like, wait a second, no, I.
Well, I'm glad you spoke up.
We may need to have you, if there's a lot of writing, we may need to have you do a little more verbal than the other folks have had to. Can we go back and talk about what you guys came up with? So we know what the full package meal looks like for year 2 of this extremely successful event. What is your thought?
We, for 2025, we want to have a 2-day event, which will increase everything by double. And we want to have parking attendants and signage. We had some of the confusion we had with parking this year. We're going to have 10 porta potties for the park. And then we also want to have 4 popular bands to draw bigger.
And with it being a multiple day event, the rental fee gets baked into that, insurance, security, overnight security. And we would love to have a stage, to rent a stage for our performers. This year we were just in the shelters, which were great, but if we're going to be paying bands to come to Albany, we would love to showcase them as much as we possibly can.
Okay.
We also mentioned porta potties being something that is important for us next year. All of the similar expenses that we had this year with marketing and paper products.
Okay, so I heard more. 2-day event from a 1-day event.
Yes.
That will require more insurance, more security. You need to have a stage to increase the profile of the acts and protect their equipment.
Yes.
That's why you're doing it.
Yes.
And porta potties, which given the crowd makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
And do you have after going through your budget, what does that number look like?
All handwritten.
Handwritten.
All right, Oscar, what do you see? 21,000 total.
Yeah.
And how much are you bringing in from sponsorships and such?
This last year we brought in
The entire budget.
Yeah.
So the entire budget last year was like 9,000, and then a little bit left, so altogether about 10 grand
on sponsorships.
for last year. But for this year, hopefully it'll be better because people will see what we
A
did.
lot of our sponsors donated in-kind materials for some of our fundraising efforts, like their products and their services. I think we ended up getting $4 grand of just straight sponsorships for different organizations around Oregon. And we're hoping that'll be for this next year, now that we have this under our belts. But
Sure. That's good work, you guys.
Well, you guys worked pretty quick in getting all of that
yeah,
done.
we didn't get to the park reservation until late May, so.
So since we're having to meet in January, then are you okay coming back then? And then you'd have everything down formally. And maybe kind of iron out some of your numbers too. There could be more.
I'm gonna say, I feel really good with what you've outlined there, but,
Yeah.
why not come back in January? And that way you guys didn't just have to do the scramble I had to do out in the hallway, but maybe something else will occur to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think everything you laid out is different than what you did this year because it's an expanded event. You guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And if they've got $10,000 of other funds, the budget there is 21,000, so your ask is still, there's a benefit to keeping it under $10,000 for that.
Yeah.
So, not that when we come down to divvying up the final nuggets that we'll be able to do the full 10, but
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm feeling like they're on the right track. Does anyone have concerns that we should share with them now?
Well, the only thing you're kind of throwing it out there. It's a 2-day event. So this will give you some time to really meet with on your committee and make sure, because if it is 2 days, well, the 6,000 that came or 6,500 might be half and half. So then you might want to look at it, and mostly your vendors, are they going to be able to commit to 2 days? So I think this will give you some time to iron things out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I can leave it with you if I take a photo.
I'll need to take a copy of that.
Yeah.
She's good.
Oscar, you were going to say?
I was going to say that it's a prototype event. It shows the potential.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that you guys get down to the details. I mean, garbage dumpsters and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good
That's
job.
what it takes.
All of the,
Yeah.
Good job.
So if you'll also give us the, not just that budget, but how the other monies all kind of, use my hands way too much, how all the monies come together.
Yes.
That would be helpful for us to see. And remembering that we would need to have it expended by the middle of June, we think.
As long as the funds are spent by June 30th,
Okay,
we can expand back to that.
all right.
I'd like just to say that the gallery, we submitted, as we spent the money, we submitted it each time. We didn't wait till the end and ask for all of it.
We've had it both ways.
Yeah.
Some people will do it as they pack it, some as they go, and it's really up to you.
Yeah, I think it depends on how much money you have in your budget to do it.
Thanks for the clarification. That's good.
But the city's great with it. We had no trouble with reimbursement.
And we had so much fun with you. We'd love to have you back.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Sorry, I just sent her, I forwarded her receipt. She was at a conference when I sent it, and when I emailed it to her.
Yeah.
I don't know if she just,
What was the dollar amount that you?
I put down 6,000, but we had received funds in the past, and so I kind of operate on, it's always best to overshoot. Ultimately, we're happy with any type of funding, so. I have a copy, I have an extra copy of my, application, well, a partial copy, will give you the budget that's attached to it. I made notes on the first 2 pages. I don't.
Jen, it's not able to find it.
I didn't see it from my.
I wonder if it went through spam or something.
For Jen.
Look,
She is.
it's the paper.
No, it's, are we in a good spot?
Yeah, you're exactly the right spot.
So my sincere apologies, because I'm looking back on the email that you forwarded me and I was at a conference, I acknowledged receipt of it.
Yeah.
And then it was gone from my email. So that's why, because I even did a search upstairs, I'm like, where is this? Why did it not, like, it pulled up everything? And so somehow,
Way early this year.
somehow, something in my email did not sync up, so I did not have the attachment. I did just email it to Peggy and Nick so that they have it as well. So this is 100% on me, I apologize. But I don't know where it went. I'm so glad you said something.
And while you were gone, we decided they did a really nice job on putting together a detailed budget. It's spur of the moment. But we said, let's let them breathe. They're thinking now it's a 2-day event. So let's let them go back, talk to their people, and we'll bring it back since we're meeting anyway, January. We'll bring it back then. And none of us had any concerns about being able to provide funding to it, depending on what other things come out of the woodwork at. Brittany?
Yeah.
Hi.
You guys want to told you that before?
I do.
Okay.
Because you did one of these with a lot.
And apologies, Brittany, and I think our emails today, and I was thinking it was based on giving a report for the last, so that's why it didn't.
No, you're right.
Good thing you should, good thing.
I was like, she's gonna be fabulous.
I did, well, there was a lot of miscommunication last year between everything, so I was too many hands in the pot, and things got missed, so I was like, oh, I should have made those.
I think next year this is a walk-in.
So last year we gave you 25.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
we were recipients from, Chris, right? That's
Oh, that's
Is that his
right.
name, Chris?
Yeah.
We got funds because he stepped down, because
Okay.
somebody who agreed to take this on as part of their volunteer position ended up getting a promotion, and things weren't passed along, so we were the lead people last year.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, that was us.
You were the line we created.
Yes, but this year I was early, like July 30th was when I submitted it.
Yeah. So 6,000.
All right. You want to talk at us?
Okay, so my name is Brittany, and I am with the West Albany Youth Baseball Program. This is technically our third and will be our final request for any type of funds.
We have grown our youth baseball tournament. It serves kids that participate in baseball through the West Albany JBO organization from grades 3rd through 8th grade. And we work closely with Marty Johnston, who's the head varsity coach at West Albany, to kind of help develop and all of the skills and stuff for baseball so that these kids filter in to be able to play baseball through West Albany. So that's our organization, and our event is set to take place the Saturday, Sunday after Memorial Day here in town. I have to try to do this without including stuff from my recap that will come in a minute, but in 2024 we had 5 locations, and it is our hope that in 2025 we'll get to add a 6th. So there's a lot of information within our application that tells we are still planning to merge with South Albany. There was some blackout dates that they were unaware of prior to our meeting last year. And the president at the South Albany JBO, through their organization, she had a lot of personal stuff happening. And so it kind of had a domino effect. So it is our hope to revisit that going into 2025 so that we can have all of the kids within both organizations playing in a tournament locally, because not all of these teams travel to play in baseball tournaments outside of our town. So we work with the Phoenix Inn, Comfort Inn, and Holiday Inn, and create room blocks with each one of those hotels, because we have pulled teams from the Eugene area clear up to Sherwood, Portland, St. Helens over the last 2 years. So in my recap, I will give you the final numbers on how many rooms we know for sure that we rented out in 2024. And we use the city parks, Bryant Park, Timberland. We have a field at Central Elementary School that we utilize for an age group. We use both the high school field at West, the JV and the varsity. And we use the turf fields at the YMCA. So it really is a collective effort with so many different locations within our town. We also reach out to local restaurants, Southpaws and the Barn. They do discounts for people who come in and say that they're with the tournament. Loafers has been one the last couple of years, both years that we have run it, that has given us great feedback about the teams that come in and how kind and everything that they are. We tried to expand to include some restaurants throughout town, since we had people playing across town, and it didn't work out so well with some of the restaurants in the middle of town because they're larger chains. And Los Dos did do a discount for people participating in our tournament, and so that was cool too. We had a couple food carts that came into Bryant Park, and then the person who actually came and served at Timberland heard through the grapevine, and she actually came down from Washington to come have a concession stand and coffee carts at Timberland, because we ended up losing some vendors that due to, I mean, it's right, it was this last weekend or last year and stuff, it's right before graduation. So you're dealing with that. I did include in our application the budget for 2024 and our projection for 2025. The largest expense that we have is umpires, and working with the local umpire associations to try to come to a more fair rate, because we've spent over $8,000 on umpires for these games in 2024. We do also bring in a few outside donations from other city businesses within our town, and on our budget, that was just over $3,000 this last year. And I'm trying to think. I know that based on what you guys said earlier, like first year, second year, I was with Linda and understood it a little bit differently, but we wanted to make sure that we we barely cleared $3,000 as a quote unquote profit to roll because the tournament costs us anywhere between $17,000 and $20,000, depending on the expenses we have. We rent the parks. The YMCA does give us a pretty gracious discount to run stuff through their program. But it does cost us a lot of money to run it. It's about $18,000 is what it, just under $19,000 is what it cost us to run in 2024. And umpires is the biggest one. So in 2025, there is a software program that we use to keep an electronic baseball tournament bracket that they are rolling out a program to actually automate registration. So you don't have to wait for like the mail to come in to get a check. It's all done automatically. And as part of that registration, you can include links to hotels, and that gets sent out to the coaches for them to actually disperse. Whereas this year it's been, thank you for your application. Here's our flyer. Please pass this out to your parents. So it will come as an automatic reply, like, thank you for registering for our tournament. Please share that we have hotel rooms blocked at these hotels, and share it so that it can get blasted. It is our hope that it reaches more people than it did this year. And because our goal is to continue to grow and bring more people in, we are looking at the possibility of having to expand possibly to Lebanon High School to use their fields for the 7th and 8th graders, because the only fields in town that they can play on are the high school fields. So without South's fields, that limits us to West Albany. We were able to run one field at the YMCA because only one of their fields is big enough to have that. So, but really we could benefit from having more. And if South Albany continues to have those blackout dates over the weekend, then we have to try to adjust and accommodate. So there's a possibility that we're going to have to rent out larger fields.
Mhm. Thank
So I
you.
think that's it.
So you've got almost 50 teams then?
Yep.
So how many kids are per team? Usually
Minimum is 12.
Uh-huh.
So I think that part is in my recap. So at a minimum with this last year that we had 44 teams that participated, there was a minimum of 760 people that we brought. And that doesn't include our own kids that live here in town. That's outside of Albany.
And so that doesn't include, so then you've got parents attending and grandparents. So, so you could really have at least 2,000 or 3,000 people.
For sure, yeah.
Coming around for the 2 days then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the sporting events is great way for bringing
Other
heads to
questions
bids.
for her? Questions?
I did have a question.
Yes.
In your budget for 2025, you've got a shortfall of 1950 or 1925,
Yes.
but yet you're asking for 6,000 in your request.
So hold on a second, I am sorry, I'm not the treasurer, the person that does all of our budgeting stuff. She's like, here's your projection, and she sends it on to me, so I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 18,100 in income, and you've got $20,025 in expenses, and the grant is not included in the income.
Correct.
So your shortfall, I'm wanting to try to understand why you're asking for 6,000 when you only need 1925.
To be completely honest, because I wanted to make sure our application got in time. So that was like based on our umpire fees, and our revenue is based on if, like, our projection for 2025 would be if we filled all of those divisions. So if we had 12 teams sign up that were in the 3rd and 4th grade, we would get the $4,800. And so that's where it's coming from, where that money was. And that's where it is. So our hope is that we fill up again, obviously.
Right.
And any leftover funds feed back into the program, into our JBO program, like if there's anything left over from the tournament. And our program feeds to West Albany. So I don't know if anybody has been over at West Albany baseball fields lately, but our JBO program just cut a $15,000 check to the high school sports foundation to do turf cutouts on one of their baseball fields. So it all feeds back into like everything else. We're trying to keep our tournament budget separate from the actual JBO budget because that filters with like the actual league part of it. So yes, there is that. There is, it looks to be only a shortfall of $1,800 or $1,900. And that is if we fill up all of those divisions.
If everything else goes right.
If everything goes 100%.
Thanks for explaining that, because I wondered that too. Good. Any other questions for her? Okay, thanks. I want to do a time check with our committee. We've got 15 more minutes according to the calendar we set for ourselves. Are we willing to slow down a little bit and try to make our decisions more
I
thoughtful?
think some of us are heading over to that event.
So we'll lose you, is what I'm hearing. How about the rest of you?
I think Jennifer's going to.
I'm here, that doesn't, we don't, I guess we could call another meeting.
So Joni, keep doing that.
Okay.
I had a roommate, it's my fault. What do you think? Are you able to stay an extra maybe 10 minutes, Oscar? 10 minutes? All right.
10 minutes, yeah.
Ish.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay, so here we go. I have 3 on the list that we're bringing back: the A-Town Pizza Fest, the CAP and STEM Northwest, and the Lynn Benton Hispanic Advisory Committee's Latino marketing. So those 3 are going to come back to us. That leaves us with looking at the proposals for Albany Visitors Association for digital marketing, for the video tour, and a Gallery Calapooya proposal, and a West Albany Junior Baseball proposal.
$67,000 in requests.
Not
And
any
we've only got 50,000 to spend.
right now, you're
So-
right.
So it's a matter of how much do we want to kick into the next go around of that, and how much do we want to spend.
So I would propose that 2 of those requests could be cut back. Gallery Calapooya, I would suggest that they pick one of the 4 or so elements that we would fund for about 3,000-ish. West Albany Junior Baseball, given the budget that we just saw, I would suggest also 3,000 or less. That doesn't shave off all the dollars, but it comes closer to balancing. Does anyone want to argue with me about why we should keep those amounts whole for Gallery Calapooya and the baseball? Keep Gallery Calapooya whole, keep the baseball whole, or cut them back?
I think that in reality, we probably need to cut all the requests back.
Very good.
Definitely baseball,
So,
just based on their
So then,
so baseball would become, in your mind, Oscar,
2,000.
2,000. How does that feel to everyone else?
Livable.
Livable. I like livable. Any problem,
Good with me.
Peggy? Peggy said thumbs up. Nick? Nick's
Good with
maybe
me
not
as
with
well.
us right now. Okay, so we got one that we're looking at. We'll eventually work toward a motion on this, but right now, West Albany Junior Baseball, $2,000. Gallery Calapooya, because it's 3rd time in, I looked at this in components, and you could do like the rack cards and the Go brochures, or you could do the print posters and artist bio sheets, and the print media seems like almost a standalone on itself, and then radio advertising, movies. So Linda, if we were to look at, Pardon me?
What about travel?
That's in the rack cards.
Oh,
Is
because
that the most important, do you think?
I think for us, the most important is to be able to get these pieces out in the public, so the rack cards.
The rack
and then
cards?
Go, and then paying travel are going to get it out there.
Right. So that's about $3,800 to do the rack cards, the update on the Go brochure and placing the rack cards.
So you're poor.
Okay, so 3,800 there, 2,000 baseball.
Which is there, if we did a third, 30% of their budget, that's 3,700.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, we're
Okay.
sticking with the rules. I like that. Yes? Sticking with the 3,700 because our rules are 30%.
Right.
So,
And then what about Visitors Association?
okay, so got two decided. What about Visitors Association, folks? I think all of those are needed.
Yeah, they are. So,
And when we were looking at proposals of who to hire to do visitor services in the community, the staff team was adamant about more media, more video to be competitive. So
The fact that they'll own the tours.
huge. Yeah. Okay.
so do we fund them full on each one?
We have two requests.
Two different requests,
Yeah.
right?
And I would be comfortable, and I don't, if we were to grant one this year, and would, I'd probably ask Rebecca, if we did not do these this year, but in 2025 year, would that, is there one that you would like?
I think because we're not going to have the videos on the website in January, that it would be best to have that happen, and especially with my experience and how long it takes to get the videos produced and ready. I think the video tours would be best.
Yep, that would be the one, and
It would be-
the other one could wait until.
And then the other one is marketing. We've got these great videos and we just want to get them out. So if that waits till 2025, that means that waits till 2025.
I think if one of those requests this year, get the next refunding this next year, we could do the other.
Okay.
We'll see. So that's a proposal. Johnny, what are you thinking about the idea of splitting them?
No opinion.
No opinion. Oscar? Sharon? Peggy?
I mean, this is what our retail tax is supposed to be going for, is for tourism promotion, so.
I agree with
fine with
Sharon. Yeah, sorry, Sharon, I didn't mean to cut you off. I agree with Sharon that our money is going for this. I mean, our
Yeah.
taxes are supposed to be going for that.
Correct.
It's a priority for me too. Oscar, you're nodding?
Yeah, I've got it bracketed as if it was a done deal.
So, good ideas. Clever, but I think most of us are on the page of this is what the money's supposed to be used for, a priority, so,
So it'd be what,
funding the whole thing.
600?
No, I would propose we do the all of one
Yes,
of the requests.
heard, and the rest of us said do both requests.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna make a motion if everyone's ready for that, and that would be both visitor associations projects, the programs, full funded, 9,900 each, the 3,800 for Gallery, Calapooya, and West Albany baseball at 2,000.
I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Does anyone need it repeated?
I second it.
I have a second from Nick. We're getting a total. Hold on.
25,600.
How much?
25,600.
25,600. Is that what you came up with, Jennifer?
Correct.
Okay.
If I got it.
You were the.
9,900, 9,900, 3,800, and 200.
2,000.
Yeah. We said,
And that was a motion. And a second.
and that was a motion and a second from Nick. Further conversation? Ready for the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Team, good job.
Okay.
Thank you all for being flexible with us. This, I'm sure, was not pretty watching, but
I'm on so many boards and you call for an item like,
So just to clarify that these 24,400 from the cycle for future chairman.
right. And we have left 3 on the table for bringing back, a $10,000 to $7,000 one. We don't do pennies, by the way. And 8,000. And who knows, if we do open it up again, I suppose there could be more. I'd like to inform the council that we have more than enough interest to use up the funds that they've given us. So if you can get us the number that's in that reserve, I'll start a conversation with my counselor. It would be helpful when you get that information from Jennifer or Sophie that you have that same conversation and see what they can do. Budget doesn't get amended usually till January, February. So we may not be able, may have to do some things contingent on budget amendment.
And right now, we just have the 24,400. That's what
That's
we're
it.
looking at, and
True.
yes, that's all the funds that are currently available, and that's what we should be planning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So anything else is required of the council. We had planned to hear from the folks that we funded last time. Can we bring those back? Who's here to talk about last time?
I believe what my son has done. Can I give a quick recap on last year?
Or you can come back on in January and have more time.
I can't guarantee you that because I don't know
Go 2 minutes. Go.
So,
Watch that clock. 2 minutes.
okay. Okay, so in 2024, we were awarded $2,500 and our tournament was held across 5 locations, as I specified earlier. We had a total of 78 games that were scheduled to be played, and we had to cancel the last 10 of them due to the rain that we got on Sunday. We were able to give championship rings to all of these kids who won their bracket. We just kind of like bid their bracket out to declare winners. So all these kids, it was really cool. There's pictures in the recap that I sent in that of all these little kids with their little championship rings. We got great feedback about that one. They loved it. I was able, after sending this in, we had 15 rooms booked at Phoenix Inn that used our reservation code. So there was no way to track if they didn't say we were with this tournament. And we had 10 at the Comfort Inn. I was unable to actually verify anything with the Holiday Inn. So either they had people there, they didn't think to say, I'm playing in this tournament, or they booked online. And so I enclosed some photos that showed some of the teams that we had. We had a team come down from St. Helens this year. And one of the teams, we got to go present them with their championship rings at South Call, which I thought was pretty cool that they were eating in a local business, hoping that they were going to be able to finish out the tournament, but they just weren't able to. So overall, we have heard nothing but positive feedback from the people that we have reached out to within the community. And this year was the first year that we actually had baseball games played under the lights at West Albany University Field and at the YMCA. And I got a lot of text messages from people that I know within the community that was like, is that your tournament being played on the YMCA right now? So it was cool to hear that people like seeing baseball games being played for the youth and not just the high schoolers under the lights.
Thanks.
So that's my recap.
Good job. Good job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rebecca,
Yes,
did you have anything to add to what's in the packet?
If you have time and would like to see the videos that were produced as a result of this funding from last year.
Would it be cool to do that after the meeting adjourns for those that wish to stay?
Not ready to get going. Yes, Jen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and say, yes, those that wish to see it will stay for a few extra moments so that those that need to leave can do so. Anything else you want to say for the record?
Just that it was a learning experience, the actual time associated with creating these videos and the expenses was, in my mind, significantly higher than we had budgeted for. So we're making room for that in our next production.
Okay. That sounds, I guess, good. And then we had one more from the football folks, which was one of those really interesting little, I love this kind of kids. Oh, but did we get a package from them?
Yeah.
Oh, I stapled them together. My bad. So I missed that one.
But I don't think they have a representative.
No. So everybody read. I will read more closely. Oh, and the robot people. Yeah. That's how I did it.
The robot.
Yeah, you did. All right. So at our next meeting, if any of those people want to come talk to us, they could do that. We're going to look at least 3 proposals. And did we agree we're opening the door again for new applications? I don't want to encourage anybody, honestly, because I think that we're pretty much out of money unless council gives us resources.
We are, but I have to believe that
It's fair.
because we're kicking the can down the road, that it's got to be open to other applicants.
Okay. So we will, if you don't mind, staffers,
And
put the word out again that
what
we,
dates do you want to open that up for? Because for this cycle, we opened it specifically July 1st to September 1st to give 2 months.
yeah,
So we just want to make sure that.
I think that's maybe too long, but that's been my impression all the way along. Others had argued that they needed, it's such a simple application. You saw these guys threw together a budget in minutes, so it doesn't have to be onerous.
I agree. I think 2 months is way too long. Most people are going to wait until the last day.
Give me a week.
They're going to put it together in the last week.
What's my due date?
If we were to do it from January 1st to January 31st, we February.
Well, keep in mind that the funds need to be spent by June 30th.
That doesn't quite.
For the fiscal year.
So if you open them October 1st, you have nothing else going next week, right? And gave them, don't look at me like that, gave them to the middle of December. And that's 6 weeks. And, or maybe it's 4 weeks if you don't get to it till the middle of October.
If you're saying open till December, that's 2 months.
Yes, if you can get on it. Mid-October, mid-December, that gives you time to package and get it out to a mid-January meeting for us.
Yes, last year we met January 18th.
All right. So I know I have one thing on my calendar coming up, but I think it's February. Can everyone please check their calendars to see if they think they're available in toward mid-January? Is middle of the month better for staff or end of the month better for staff?
You come in at 7:30 actually too. All I can say is me personally would be the middle of January.
Middle of January is best for you. Hi, Peggy.
I'm going to be signing off. I'm supposed to be at the event that Sharon just left for, and my husband's there checking us in. So I'm out.
Okay. Thank you for staying. We're just setting our date. Can you tell us if you're available middle of January? Like, let's say the
Every day's a
15th,
gamble.
15th, 16th,
16th if we do it on
Thursday, January 16th.
That looks good for me.
Yeah.
Thursday, January 16th. Yeah, I should be able to. I have 2 meetings that day, but they should both be over by that time.
I'm a tentative yes, that should work.
Okay. You can come and bring the baby next time. That'll be fun. Because we don't have enough craziness.
Right.
All right. So Thursday, January 16th, somebody will call Sharon, text Sharon and let her know. And we have everybody else here. Did we finish? With just 2 minutes extra? Oh,
So
congratulations.
I just want to clarify the group because there were some questions. So it sounded like some people didn't want the application period open for 2 months, but is that what you're still saying is yes, to have that reopened from next week until December 1st then? That would be 2 months again. So I just want to clarify what timing you're looking at so we can open that.
I think since it's been the norm, and then we're going to, at this meeting, talk about what our new norm is going to be. And I would advocate changing it to shorter.
And there's a lot of holiday stuff in there.
There is. That's part of what I was thinking. Okay. Leave it 2 months-ish. If you can't hit exactly, it's okay.
It just gives folks an opportunity to push the can all the way to December.
I know, always a mistake to give me extra time. So just speaking on myself, I thank you,
Some people,
Jen.
like the young lady that was just there, she had it in July. So
Right.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
they got
what busy
lost.
people do. Staff, anything extra to add to the agenda as we're finishing up? And if not, we're adjourned.